That was funny.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Voices of Degenerates. We obviously have a slightly smaller crowd today than our typical on Saturday, but we had other people who had other things going on. So obviously, I'm here. We got Meems, Reaps, and Mrs Reaps. So
hello.
Today's episode is brought to you in part by one of our sponsors who said that they wanted to make sure that everybody understood that they're here to stay.
Oh my God!
No, you didn't.
You made this shirt.
You didn't. The Sito No Keto T-shirt has arrived.
Merch is here, baby.
Let's go.
Those will be on sale.
This is courtesy
Right?
of Meems. They will be on sale eventually. Not at the moment, but keep your eye out and stay tuned, and you guys will see when we get those available. So,
fantastic.
But they are here to stay, and if you guys did see any other sponsors that you would like to see merch for, let us know in the comments. See what we can do for you. But today's episode is actually going to be a little more on the thoughts-provoking side. We're going to be having some conversations that might get a little deep. But
try not to cry.
Yeah. Let's say we're going to be full, raw, transparent, all emotions today, guys. All right. So starting with our first question of the day. All right. What hard truths do you prefer to ignore? All right. So who would like to kick us off, or would you guys be all right with me kicking us off?
Go ahead, kick us off.
I got a good one.
But
all right. Okay. Cool. So my hard truth that's always been a thing for me that I know is the case, but I just wish it wasn't the case, is that we can't know happiness without sadness existing. Because I'm the kind of person that likes to always make somebody laugh, always have a positive attitude, and always make it so that I influence somebody's day a little better every chance that I can. But the fact of the matter is that I can't do that to every person in the world. So sadness is something that people experience. A lot of people experience it. And I myself can say that I luckily have never been to the point where I've felt so sad that I feel alone. And I don't want people to feel that way. So I try my best to make everybody's day a little better, as best and as much as I can. But I know that sadness exists and happiness is the exact counterpart. So that's the hard truth that I don't like to accept, but I know is the case.
Dang. I know.
Right. Starting off real strong there.
Like I said, this episode is going to get deeper than my voice. Well, my voice isn't that deep, so I can't say that. So, but deep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Reaps, let me hear yours, Reaps.
All right. So I think this is going to resonate with anyone in our audience who has served in the military or is currently serving. As we've talked about on a couple different episodes, I am active duty still. I've spent about 15 years of my adult life so far in the service. I've loved and hated every minute of it. It's a love-hate relationship that I'm extremely grateful for. However, I think in our heads, we dedicate so much of ourselves to the service, whether it's long hours, deployments, missing holidays, birthdays, anniversaries, funerals, you name it, I've missed it. You feel like you're part of this amazing team. However, if you've been in long enough, you also realize that you are extremely, extremely replaceable. So if tomorrow I didn't show up to work, my squadron would not stop doing what it's doing. And that's one of those deep thought things you think about every once in a while. Like, hey, I feel I have an extremely crucial position in my squadron right now. And still, if I was to not show up, my squadron would still fly like normal. And that I think is the smack in the face or the the big emotional surprise when people retire, I feel like, or separate. A lot of veterans separate and then realize how much the brotherhood of being in the service and the purpose of your showing up to work every day, especially when you get to the like NCO or senior NCO ranks where you're responsible for a whole bunch of people, is one day you go from being important to everybody around you to being separated, and then you're important to no one at that point. Like that brotherhood is gone away.
Always.
I mean, outside of your fit, I mean, like realistically, when I show up to work, like everybody looks at what I do. Everybody listens to what the hell I tell them to do. That doesn't, I have positional power, and tomorrow if I retired, all that goes away. Now I'm just a normal everyday Joe when I'm walking into anywhere else. So that's like a weird transition, I think, for a lot of people. And I think that's why a lot of veterans struggle. But my hard truth, which I choose to ignore, is that I am extremely replaceable.
Well, that's very valid.
Yeah. Honestly, I never really thought of it in that sense of, you climbing the ranks, becoming so important to your entire team, and then you leave and somebody just takes your position. And then you're just, it just keeps moving. The machine keeps moving. It just replaces the cog.
But that doesn't mean they don't miss you or they don't feel the difference without you there.
Correct.
Because they sure will.
Yeah. And you still matter to everybody in there. It's just you're not in that position anymore. So the fact that you're not there doesn't mean that they don't care. Ooh, that was a good rhyme.
Use a poet and didn't even knows it.
The mission in the military, the mission never stops in the military. So no matter what branch it is, the mission never stops. It always has to keep going. So that's why, like, that it's just inherent nature of, if someone vacates a position, someone else has to step up and take it. And then it just creates that hamster on a wheel, that the mission never stops and the people just go in and out, and that's what it is.
I think what a lot of people take with them is the experience they had and the fact that they got to experience, a job like that where you felt important and valued member of the team.
I think, I played sports all growing up. I think a lot of people that are in the service played some kind of sport or something like that growing up. The military is like a sports team on steroids, because it really is. Yeah. Imagine if whatever sport you can think of playing up as a kid, imagine if those same people like you lived with in shitty locations and never saw, like you saw them more than you saw your family. Like there's a bond that gets created there that is something special. And those are the things I'll miss the most when I retire is that crazy like bond that you can develop with a group of people, especially when you're out there. It like multiplies tenfold when it's like in austere locations, you're getting shot at, rockets, mortars, all that kind of stuff like coming in. Like that's those people that I was in those scenarios with, I still talk to all the time. So it is an amazing, amazing thing. And I think that's, like I said, that's what a lot of people miss on the outside is it's hard to, especially in this day and age, it's hard to develop those relationships with people because ours is like a service before self is actually like one of our core values, but service before self kind of mindset. And then civilian sector, I feel like it's more of a self before service, to be completely honest with you. And that's where I think a lot of veterans struggle is like, we have this, even if it's working at a Walmart or something that these veterans are doing, like there's a goal, there's a mission that we have to get done. And when nobody's on the same page and it's me first, not mission first, it's tough for a lot of veterans. I can tell you that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something that, I know I never really considered it. And I work with people that are veterans often when it comes to my job. So I always, I obviously know that they went through a lot. I thank them for their service because, they may have experienced some things that I don't think I could ever experience in my lifetime. I've never been in the military, never have been interested in joining the military, but I know that the people who are in the military are absolutely brave and like ballsy, because I don't think I could ever see myself in that kind of a situation. So
there's a lot you have to give up or be willing to take.
And I 100% like all respect to you, Reaps, for how long you've been doing it, and all respect to all of our troops that are still out there doing what they're doing, because it is not easy. And then even when it's over, it's still not easy. So I can only say that with, you know, the podcast, if you guys are listening, just understand that us as civilians, we may not know what you're going through, but we do appreciate what you've gone through. We don't know how you guys been you know, treated and what things you guys have seen, but at least from me, I can tell you that I value everything that you guys do, because I myself know that I could not be in your shoes, and I would never claim that I could be. So Reaps, absolutely, thank you so much for everything that you do, man. I really do appreciate it.
It is my pleasure.
That is very sweet.
All right, that's the end of my rant.
All right.
All right.
Well, I have
who's next?
one.
Okay.
So being on the other side, the civilian side of the military lifestyle, I've kind of taken jobs where I could, especially depending on where we've been. I changed my degree to business thinking, you know, that would be the best fit, or I could take it really anywhere into anything. And I think I've done really well with that. But I think my hard truth to ignore is I don't feel like I'm going in the right direction right now. I don't have a lot of passion for what I do, and I'm a passionate person. So I want to feel that when I go to work. You know what I mean? Like, I want to feel that it. And it's not right now. But I think I have possibly a good opportunity coming my way to do a little something different for myself. Scary, though. But
that's exciting.
Yeah. My oldest brother is a networking business guy. He kind of brings businesses together, and he works out of New York. And I think I'm going to get some certifications and bookkeeping for small businesses and kind of start my own thing. I love bookkeeping. I'm a huge nerd for numbers. I get excited. It's weird. I start budgeting and like,
you need a budget for next semester. Oh yeah, please hold on.
Let me do it.
What a nerd.
I'm a super nerd for it, and I love it. And it would be working for myself, and I could take it wherever I go. I'm just like feeling like I keep getting in a position where I'm not valued in my office, especially right now. I'm not valued at all. Like, they don't, you know, they just could care less whether I come or go. And that's not it for me. So that's my hard truth. I think it's time to step out of my comfort zone.
You know, Ms. Reaps, I commend you. You know,
I love that.
Taking that step that you need to make sure you're happy. Like, honestly, they always say if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life, right?
That's right.
I personally, you know, would love to have that be my situation as well. I don't exactly do something that I love. I love aspects of my job. I like parts of my job, but the job itself, if I could take out parts and pieces that I don't enjoy, then it would be ideal. But that's the reality, right? That's what we live in. It's like there's gonna be things that we want to do, and then there's things that we can do. So if you can get as close to what you can ideally call your passion, then it will be less as work. So,
and just more rewarding, you know?
Yeah, more
I
rewarding.
want to feel like it means something.
Well, I'll tell you this. It means a lot that you're here with us, Ms. Reaps, because we love having you here in the podcast, all right? All right, Meems, what's your hard truth?
So my hard truth is an interesting one in the concept of like, just because you like someone doesn't mean that they're not a shitty person. So Sito, for an example, right? For me, I love it.
Wait, hold on. Wait. First of all, you married me, all right?
Well, okay, wait, let me finish my thought. So for me, you're like the nicest person that I ever met. But there's probably people out there where they would say, you're a shitty person. Vice versa for me too. Like there's always going to be somebody who thinks that you're a really shitty person, even if you're the nicest person to someone. It's a very weird
Yeah,
concept. Think about it.
Yes, you know,
fair.
he's a real shitbag.
Fair. All right.
Right.
I'm
And
just a
it's
real
like-
piece of work.
For me, it's like really hard. Like, why don't you like me? What I do? But it's just gonna happen. There's no reason.
It's
Sometimes
gonna
people don't
happen.
like
Like
you.
And that's one of those
someone's
things where
not gonna like you for
Yeah,
some reason.
exactly
Somewhere.
It's just inevitable. But that's another one of those hard truths. You can't
Yeah.
make everybody like you. It's
Right.
impossible. There's gonna be somebody who's not happy with either your opinion or your stance on something. There's always gonna be opposition. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of if you can respectfully be opposing to that person or to
And
that
that's
view,
what it's
right?
all about.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's obvious, you know, we're probably not going to agree on 100% of everything in the world, right?
Who does,
But
right?
I respect that we don't. I like
Right.
when me and Mimi have different types of like conversations, and then she'll have a stance on something that I don't agree with. The thing that I always tell her is I am understanding of your point. I don't agree with your point, but I'll leave it as is, because I'm not going to try and force you to change your mind if you're this passionate about it. So we'll just leave it as is. And then obviously there's compromises here and there that where we can try and mediate things. But we need both understand that there's no way
No way.
when you are like 100% committed to this one thing, there's no way that I'm going to sit here and argue until my face turns blue and tell you that it's going to change your mind. It's just not worth it. Because at the end of the day, now it's going to become either an argument or a division between us. And I don't want that, especially not in my marriage. Like, who would want that?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Lucky,
no,
I think at a young age, I realized that. I think another, I guess, that goes along with your hard truth, and I guess would be a different hard truth, is that not everyone is worth your effort.
Yeah.
Oh
And
my
I think-
God.
True.
Yes.
I think
That's
that's
also
what
true.
Exclamation
a
point.
lot of people get
exclamation.
sucked into
Facts.
is
Yeah.
you're trying to make everybody like you, right? And
Right.
if you're putting more effort into someone
Guilty.
and you're getting back, like that's just like the shittiest feeling in the world.
Right.
Yeah,
And then
right.
that makes me think about something else where it's kind of like a little bit of a debate where it's like, if you don't like someone and you don't want someone in your life, do you need to have a whole sit down with them and tell them A through Z why?
No,
You
I
shouldn't
don't
have
believe you do.
I'll be honest
I
with you,
believe
like,
you could just say nothing and move on.
That's exactly, to me, like my circle is very small.
Yeah.
And the people that are in the circle know it. And
Right.
I don't, it's going to sound super shitty, but you don't get a lot of chances in my
Yeah.
opinion. And like, if I got crossed or done wrong to the point where I'm like, not worth it. It's not worth it
Right.
to me. Then I'm moving on.
It took me a little longer to learn that.
Yeah.
It's okay, because you know what, Miss Reaps, me and you are the same, because I'm a
I
very
feel that.
optimistic person.
Yes.
Like I feel like there's good in everyone, whether
There
you can
is.
see it immediately or not. There's good in everyone, and there is. It's just some people's intentions are not always the best, and then
No.
obviously there are some people's intentions who are counterintuitive to intentions that you might have. So they may not necessarily be a bad person. It's just that what they want to accomplish is the opposite of what you want to accomplish, and then that's going to cause you guys to have that rift. So it's inevitable. You know what I mean? Like like for me, for example, at work, we get customers surveys that get sent out every time they purchase something. So 9 times out of 10, those surveys come back stellar. They come back perfect. You know, so-and-so was amazing. The facility was great. You know, 10 out of 10, so on and so forth. But then every 1 out of 10, you'll get somebody who goes in there and says, this was the worst experience I've ever had. This person did absolutely nothing for me. This, that, and the third. And then it's like,
That's Meems filling it out.
How'd you know?
she goes in there like, oh,
Keeping
here
you
we
humble,
go.
dude.
Time
Keeping
for me
you
to
humble.
fuck shit up. Here we
Listen,
go.
I gotta keep him on his toes.
Oh man, but that's just, it's just the reality of it. You know what I mean? Like, people aren't all wired the same way. So
Yeah.
what's one person's cup of tea may not be all. So that's the way that I see it.
I agree.
But all right, that was awesome. That was
Good
so
job, guys.
good. Yeah, that was good job, guys. Proud of you. This is going
Steve, welcome
this is
to the
going
team.
great. All right, I thought somebody was gonna cry by now, but I guess we haven't hit the the string yet. All right, let's go. Let's go into question numero dos of the day. If the world was going to end in a year, how would you spend your time?
Are you going to go first, Reaps?
It's not going to be what we talked about off podcast.
He's too scared.
It would be for me.
Wish y'all heard what he said offline.
I think everyone can put pieces together.
B-roll.
The Patreon scream.
As Sito would say.
So what
Family
I would
friendly.
Do, if I knew the world was going to end in a year from now, I would apply for every credit card ad that came through my mailbox. I would travel the world with my family, see the things like on my bucket list. Like there's places that like I want to go to the Maldives. I want to go to Ireland. I want to go to Australia. All sorts of things, right? There's a million things on my bucket list. I would start checking those off. Like I could give a shit about running my credit up. You know what I mean? Like I am going full
World's
on
ending.
like nomad mode. I'm just taking every day like it's the last day, and we're going.
Mm-hmm. I'm on the same boat. I'm on the same boat. I would minus the credit because I see me the way I'm looking at it. I'm thinking of it too logically. I mean, so I feel like all the creditors would be like, absolutely not. Everybody's dying in a year. Absolutely not. We're not letting anybody get any credit now.
Not?
Why not?
Everybody's gonna be gone. Who cares?
So, right.
But what I'm
Free
saying
money
about
for everybody.
The corporations are not just going to be like, oh, everybody's going to die. Cool. Here, everybody has some money. Let's do this. That's not going to happen. That's absolutely not going to happen. So, but I would agree. I'm going to live my life to the absolute fullest. And I'm going to make sure that my children experience everything that they possibly can in that year. Because obviously we have two little ones. So they're not going to remember, unfortunately, for the most part. My daughter may, because she's 4, going to be 5. But my son definitely wouldn't remember any of it. But I'm going to make sure that I make as many memories with them as possible, because it's just, how do I put it? Even though he's not going to remember them, I will. I want to think that if the world ends and we are all, nuked to high heaven, those memories are still out there. You know what I mean? Like consciously we're not here, but I want to feel and think that those memories still exist somewhere. And so I want it to be that those memories are forever ingrained in my mind, my wife's mind, and my kids' mind. So I would 100% go with you, Reaps. Matter of fact, let's do it together.
Let's go.
Road trip.
Let's get an RV.
Fuck it.
You know what? Let's get that bus.
Yes, get that bus. And we'll just get the Pokey fam the whole way. We'll start picking up people down the road. We're going to start from the East Coast, make our way all the way down to the West Coast, and then just jump on a boat and just go.
Let's go.
Road trip on Sito? No, Julie. Absolutely not. Not on me.
That's what I heard.
That's what I heard too.
And you think if they said, hey, like a year from now the world's going to end, I feel like it would immediately turn into pandemonium.
Yeah.
So I feel like the first thing you would have to do is like establish your base location. You know what I mean?
I feel like it would. I feel like it would turn into the freaking purge, and
right?
people
you
would
have
go
that
hostile.
Yeah.
So that's what you. But that's
freaked out.
Yeah.
Everyone was so selfish.
Mm-hmm.
I could. That was like, you want to talk about when I realized like it hit you in the face like a ton of bricks, how humanity would react in any kind of crisis. So COVID. Which was this, obviously it's everywhere in the news. People are freaking out. Like there's people passing away. It was a big deal. And you saw the worst in people coming out. And that wasn't even like high threat. Like that wasn't like, if there was some kind of like end date or like a visible threat, dude, we would just turn primal. And it would be like survival of the fittest at that point. I'm convinced.
I mean, the fact that we ran out of toilet paper. I mean, come on, people.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, what the
people
hell?
Buying more rolls of toilet paper they can use in a year. And someone else next to them can't buy any. Like, how could you not
That's
be like,
great.
Hey, I got some rolls
Diapers for
you go.
kids. Formula.
Diapers.
The formula was crazy.
Water.
Formula was crazy.
Yeah.
But when to that point though, Reaps, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. There was an artist who she did it wasn't like a painting. It was like a performance. So what she did was she stood in a gallery and she had a table with 72 items. And for 24 hours, or I think it was 24 hours, she stood there and said that anybody can come up and do anything they want with her with any of those items on the table.
Whoa.
And in those hours that she was standing there, the first few hours went by and it was, wholesome. People were just going up, putting something in her hair, doing something here and there. Then she said it started to get dark. She said some guys were literally touching her. There was some people who were causing her harm, like grabbing things and cutting her and things like that.
What the heck?
And then she said that it became this crazy social experiment because she didn't expect it to become what it was, but she was prepared for it to become what it was. And it really did give her a whole new perspective on humanity, because when we have control, some people will do everything that they want regardless of the consequences to other people. Other people will just try to improve. You know what I mean? And I got to find the article where I read it from, but it was just like nuts to me that it went from, her trying to make it a performance to her basically being assaulted while everybody watched.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me, because that's the man versus bear. Doesn't surprise me at all.
If there was no consequences for things, for your actions, like, again, we'd be primal. We'd all,
right.
It would be wild on those streets.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, people do those things in the dark, even though they know it's wrong now. So you give them a green light, they don't care who's watching.
The Purge. I'm ready for it.
The Purge.
I'm ready for the Purge.
No, I'm too sensitive for that.
Yeah.
So Miss Reaps will be the first one to get shot by a child. That's what she's saying.
Well, we know this. We know I'm just gonna hug this child with a machete and say it's okay.
You'd be like the person, every zombie, like apocalypse person. She's like the one that's like crying and shaking in the corner, like, I can't do this.
See, like, my answer was gonna be selfish, but in terms of myself, where like what I normally do every day is I go to work, I do this, I do that, and I'm in the same kind of boat where it's like I don't necessarily love what I do. So I would be selfish in the aspect of like I would just do something I love to do, not worry about if I'm making $1 million or not, or things like that, and like just be selfish because I think I'm pretty selfless. I do a lot for other people with their interest first, especially when it comes to work. I overwork way too much for so many other people. And I don't do enough for myself at all. Selfish.
What the Julie?
So like I would be like, if I knew there was an end date, I would just be like, I'm doing whatever the heck I want because I haven't done it all my existence.
Yeah, I mean,
same.
But not kill people.
No,
clarify.
We're not going to
go
unalive
people. We're not going to unalive people here, guys. All right, that's not what we're doing here. That's not what this podcast is about.
I like to imagine this question as in like, everybody's on the same page of like,
right,
hey,
like
we got a year
only
left.
the good folks.
Let's have a great time.
Yeah,
like that's the world I prefer.
Just enjoy life.
That's what I'm saying. That's the
with
positive
the
thinking that I would want, right? Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
So it's like, let's just all just break into all these stores, take all the electronics and stuff, and then just survive, right? No, I wouldn't do that.
No.
I would just be like, hey guys, we have this newfound freedom. Yes, because of some unfortunate circumstances that's gonna happen, but it's freedom. We can do whatever we want because this year that's it.
What if it was only us who knew the world was ending and the rest of the world didn't?
Well,
so like only scenario. You know.
Yeah,
right. No one else knows.
Exactly. It's like then when everybody sees us doing all these things, they'll be like, "Oh no, Miss Reaps
ruined it for everybody." She's like, "I'm telling everybody I know."
She'd be like, "Mom, I just need you to know."
Look, I need you guys to live your best life and quit being silly. There's not a lot of time.
No, see, the way you got to do it, you got to do it cryptically. You can't just flat out say. You got to be like, "Hey, Mom, you know how you were thinking about doing this? Just do it. Just do it.
You might want to get on that.
One life. Why not?" And if they start
YOLO.
saying, "No,
you're like, "Oh, it could end in a year. We don't know."
No,
Throwing it
Ms.
out
Reaps,
there.
no.
No.
Just throwing this out here, you know?
You have to be like, it could end in like 364 days and 12 hours. So
Maybe.
So you might want to get on that.
Right.
Just saying, no big deal.
Yeah.
Not saying that anything is gonna happen, but if something was,
That's funny.
But yeah, in any case, it seems like we would be on the positive end of that spectrum as a whole. So I could be content with that for now. I know C-Dog would probably be the complete opposite. He'd be like, "Oh no, absolutely not." I'd be running
encouraging people.
He's like, I would put a sledgehammer on my car so that way, as I'm driving, I'm just knocking people out on the highway. Shout out to C-Dog though. C-Dog, if you're not in here, not our fault. You should have been here. All right, let's get into our next question. What activity makes you feel happiest? So what activity that you do makes you feel happiest?
I don't know what song Reaps has in his head right now.
What song?
The way you just...
He's like...
napping. Somebody from the audience said napping, and I mean, I get it.
Yes, napping.
Naps are
Can't
awesome.
go wrong with that.
Naps are awesome.
I think I'll go.
Yeah.
Since there's like a lull here.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime that I can be a kid again, like carefree, like we had like a block party one time and we rented out like a moonwalk, like water slide thing.
Dude, it was awesome.
Like as adults, you know what I mean? Like we're all adults
Yeah.
and we're playing in like a slip and slide and like a moonwalk thing. And at that point, there's like not a care in the world. You're just like a kid again.
Yeah.
Any of those moments, like I thrive for. So if I can put myself in those scenarios, I love it. But I think when it comes to like, there's two different happinesses to me, I think.
Yeah.
There's happiness that are like, I feel giddy, you know what I mean? Like a little kid, like I just talked about, but there's happiness that make you feel like full, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I'm happy when like, I'm happiest when like I'm sitting down for a nice meal that we all cook together as a family. You know, when Ethan came back from college, he kind of surprised us.
That was
we
so
made like
awesome.
steaks and we sat down and had a nice dinner and we're talking and those conversations always turn into something funny. Something like
about
it's
farts.
It's never just you staring at each other. Yeah, it always goes to poop somehow. You know
always
what I mean?
goes to poop.
There's always a poop joke. But no, those are the moment like I'm happiest when like my little world is complete.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
those are the moments that I feel complete. I feel like, there's things you take for granted for every day.
Mm-hmm.
And when those things don't exist for a little while and then they're back all of a sudden, it's way more important. And you all see when your kids get older, how there's this like 18-year grind. Let's be honest, right? It's hard raising kids. So there's like this 18-month or 18-year grind. As they get older and older, and the grind for you all gets easier and easier. You're gonna start being like, all right, like this is where you start enjoying it to the point where you're like, that's when you also start seeing the finish line of like, man, my kids are about to start going to college, they're about to start leaving the house, and everything changes for you at that point. And there's you can't really. It's not like one day you wake up and it's this way, one day you wake up it's not. It's a slow transition to all of a sudden you're going like, wait, like it's over already. Like time out. Like I wasn't ready. Like I felt like I was ready 10
Literally,
years ago.
you blink.
You know, when he was a little shit at 7 years old, you know, I felt like I was ready.
Like,
come here, you little shit.
But no, when they're 20 years old, they're out of the house. All of a sudden, you're like, man, there was a lot of things I felt like I wanted to do still that you just run out of time. So I'm happiest when like I get those moments back. That like complete moment back.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I definitely think so too. That's like for me, it's definitely involved with the family when we're together. I enjoy our vacations, camping trips. I absolutely love camping. We've had some great memories with friends and family. Just being out in the woods and really away from your phone and like finding stuff to do. And it's really, really cool. And I know Ethan, if he was here, I mean, he's he would remember those trips fondly. Like there was always a good time. You never
Mm-hmm.
didn't have fun when we went camping.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've gone
So,
camping, but they were not the greatest.
yeah.
Not at all.
I've had some of the funniest moments of my life.
Oh my God, yes.
Oh God.
Hey, remind me, we gotta put a little pin in this, but remind me on a different podcast. I have to do story time of Gooey Duck and the Muck.
Oh my
Gooey
God.
Duck
we gotta
and
put a
the
pin in that.
Muck.
Gooey Duck and
Okay.
the Muck is one of the greatest stories I
Yes.
ever have.
Okay.
So
All
that has
right.
to be another. That has to be like a whole podcast. We have to talk.
All
I also thoroughly enjoy the camping trip. It's the one right down the street from us, and we're just around the fire, and Dougie takes off to go to the bathroom, and then all of a sudden you hear a splash. What the hell was that? He fell in the lake.
Oh no!
There's slippery rocks. I was like
Yeah.
trying to pee into the lake on these slippery rocks.
And it was dark, so we couldn't see.
Oh
I was
my
like,
God.
holy shit.
Okay.
But
And it was
luckily,
like 40
I
degrees
overpack.
outside.
Oh no!
I
Oh,
overpack. We only were going for a night. He's like, I don't need to change of clothes. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Right.
And I threw in clothes. Thank God.
And that's why you have a wife, right?
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
I would have died in the wilderness because I was too cold.
You would have went home. Like, I think you would have went home. It was cold.
He would have just gotten in the car and turned the heat on, just let
Yeah,
his clothes
like,
dry.
True.
I'm done, guys.
So for me, and I know Mimi's probably gonna be like, "Oh God, here we go." For me, holidays are like that's my I love the holidays, especially Christmas. Every Christmas morning, and Mimi will attest to
Oh
this.
God, yes.
Every Christmas morning, I wake up. Mind you, I never wake up early. Never
No.
wake up early. That is not my thing. If
And
I can
let's
wake up
clarify
at
what
12
early
o'clock,
is.
1 o'clock, that's early for me. But
Oh.
I will like wake up and my kids will still be sleeping. And what I'll do is I will put on Alexa, full blast, and start playing all the goddamn Christmas music. And I just start
Yay.
singing on the top of my lungs. I'm sitting there, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. And then everybody in the house is just like, oh shit, here we go.
Yeah.
But it's just those moments. So growing up as a kid, obviously you guys from other episodes, if you haven't watched it, then this is going to be news to you. But if you have watched the other episodes, you'll know. I was raised by a single mom for the most part. So she didn't exactly have the opportunity to give us these grand Christmases, these great events, these amazing holidays. She did what she could, and I absolutely adore my mother for everything that she did for us. But this is me living that dream that I had as a kid for my kids, so that they can experience and fall in love with the holidays, because I want them to understand that, yes, the holiday means something, but this holiday means something for us as a family. This is our time for us to really
And you guys are
get
in,
to
like,
enjoy those memories.
Best time with your kids'
Yes.
ages. It really is awesome, and cherish it. Hold on to it. It's magical. I love Christmas time. This will be a little weird this year. I'll be Ethan I think is going to come up hopefully, so
Yeah, so you won't be completely alone.
yeah.
But like your Christmases will soon change one day because you'll get to the next stage of like grandparents, and you're gonna have like you'll go through it all over again.
Man.
I can't
Look
wait.
at Reese's face. Reese's face is like, oh, you mean I'm gonna be Grandpa Reeps? Oh,
Someday.
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 It could happen.
Not yet.
All right.
Mrs.
Right.
Reaps is going
Not yet, Ethan.
First, we need to cry at the wedding,
Oh,
and then
God.
Right.
I gotta have to like stuff some tissues in places.
Yeah, you gotta be prepared. You know, it's just, oh my God, here it comes. Oh my God, no, but honestly, and this is an open invitation to all of the Poke fam out there. If you guys are not having any plans for the holiday, please, our door is open. So Miss Reaps, you are welcome to join us.
Sweet.
If you need to find some place to go, you are more than welcome in our home. We'll be happy to have you. We have prime rib every Christmas.
I'm there.
Let's go.
I was
So
gonna
it'll
say
be,
we're
let's
like
see, let's add it up real quick. It'll be, let's see, our anniversary. It'll be
my birthday,
your birthday. It'll be
Christmas.
It'll be
New
Christmas,
Year's.
Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's,
No,
my
you'll be
birthday,
home for
Ethan's
Thanksgiving.
21st. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming down the pipe that I will not be around for.
But we're gonna try to
Yay.
plan his homecoming mid-tour for graduation, for Ethan's graduation.
Yeah.
oh, that'd be awesome.
Awesome.
I heard Prime Live and I am listening.
Kool-Aid in the chat. I love
It's
it.
so funny because literally, like my brother, he lives in the city, but he'll text my mom like, "When's the prime rib happening?" And then when we went to Florida, I was like, "This is gonna be the first year that we don't get prime rib." I was like, I don't know how I could deal with that. So I was lucky enough where I got 2 weeks off to come back to New York. So we came back here for 2 weeks for Christmas time. So I got my prime rib. So I've never had to not have the prime rib, but it's like we need it.
Yes.
We
Let
need
me
it.
tell you, her mom has been perfecting this prime rib
Yes.
over the years, and it has become
Yeah,
phenomenal.
and each year
okay?
we keep telling her like, no, you need to get more. No, that's not enough pounds.
It's like, no, are
More.
you kidding me?
Buy
More.
more.
I'm sorry. Did you
More
just say
meat.
that it's a 20 pounder? What are we, 12?
You better bump that up to 40.
Those are rookie numbers. Those are rookie numbers. You got to bump those numbers up.
And she's like,
Oh man.
well, like that's the only time I can get him to eat leftovers, Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Yep.
Those are the
don't
only
freeze it,
times
right?
that he'll eat leftovers.
No. If as soon as it's frozen, I'm out. I'm
Mhm.
done.
boy.
Nope.
Oh, you got to get your
Gone.
life together.
That's it. But we finished it within a week, so it don't even matter. Like that food is so good. Like we'll devour like over 50% of it that night. We'll devour it. Between all of us, we'll just down like at least half of it. And then the other half next morning, sandwich for the lunch, evening, another helping, because it's just so good.
Yeah.
So good. But yeah, no, that's how the holidays make me feel. Like I that's my happy place. But Memes, you haven't gone.
Yeah. I was gonna say the things that make me like the happiest is kind of just like watching how things plan out. So like today we got to see my daughter do her recital, her first dance recital, and I'm like
so
looking at this
exciting.
little person that I made where I'm like, I never would do that as a little kid. Like that would not have been me. Like that is all Sito. She gets that all from him. She's so fearless. Went up there, did her dances, and it's like it's so nice to see how things correlate later on in life where you're like, "Aw, you made like great decisions. You made this great little person." And then just the memories that you can make from that. We had all of our family come. She had a whole little dinner. She got cupcakes, like,
That's so cool.
yeah, like just making memories for them, especially in ways where it's like you want to push for something that like I never would have done it, so I want you to be that way, like if you have it, I want you to thrive.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Watching
Yeah,
your
it's getting
kids
better and
like
better,
do
too,
something
as they
you're
get older and
afraid to
older.
do is so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so
You don't
cool.
understand. There was a moment where I held it together. Okay, I didn't cry. I just want to make that a point. I did not cry.
Sito's a crier.
But I was really close, okay? Because there was a point I had my phone out because I was like, first of all, let me tell you something. This was absurd. They literally told us, oh, please refrain from recording while you guys are there for the performances. So I looked at my wife and I said, Meme, there is no way in hell they're stopping me from recording my daughter's first recital. Right? I was like, there is no fucking way that they're going to tell me, no, you can't record it. Fuck you mean I can't record? Hell
They want
no.
you to buy their recording.
Hey, see, you're the problem.
That's what I'm saying.
You're the problem. You're why I can't
No.
go to a concert, and I have to watch a concert through 37 screens in front of me.
No, honestly, so what I will say is that when she was doing her performance, right? I took my phone out, brought it up, and I hit record, and I'm watching. And as I'm watching, I'm seeing her scan, and then she catches where we're all at. So she sees her grandpa first, and she goes like this to her grandpa, right? And I'm like, oh, she's adorable. And then she catches my eye, and I got this on camera, guys. She catches my eye, and her face lights up. And then she turns to her friend who's standing next to her. She goes, "My daddy's here." Like I can read her lips. So he goes, "My daddy, my daddy." And then she points, and I'm just like,
okay.
And I was like, I told her everybody that was coming because I didn't want her to be like, oh my gosh, this person's here, and then forget all the dance moves. So I told her, I told her everybody who was coming. But she still was like, oh my God, my daddy's here. I'm like, on my chopped liver.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
But at the same time, I'm like, it's adorable
sweet.
because it's like she knows without knowing that like that's something that's so dear to his heart to have a kid who would be like that.
I think what's important with this little topic right now is showing up matters.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was lucky. My parents were very supportive of everything I did growing up, but my dad specifically, I'll never forget. I'll just tell one situation real quick. I'm in a wrestling tournament my junior year, which I started becoming a really good wrestler. That was my coming to fame. I'm at an hour and a half away from my house at a holiday tournament. It's like the Christmas break week, and I'm in one of my third matches of the day. It's grueling. I'm like bloody. I have like these little mini tampons on my nose because I got a bloody nose. They just stuff these things in your nose. And I'm wrestling, and it was like in between the first and second period. I remember I was walking back to the center of the mat, and I saw my dad sitting in the front row. But I had no idea that he was going to come. He drove from Boston all the way out the western part of Massachusetts to watch one match. That was my last match of the day, the one that he got to watch. And it just, I don't know why that's one of those things I'll never forget. Just because everything I can think of now, like moving forward, he was there. He just showed up. And now with my kid, because of my dad, I was like, I'm just going to at least show up. And I might not coach everything. I might not be able to be super involved, but I'm going to show up. And sometimes just showing up in uniform and you've worked 12 hours and you don't even want to go. But you're like, I'm going to show up because it's not for you, it's for him, right? And so I hope that my son, 20 years from now, when he's on a podcast, he's saying like, no, my dad showed up. Like that's, you don't even know. You guys don't even know that is going to be something that your daughter remembers is that those people were there, even this young.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I will say, kudos to your father for being there. Cause not all of us have that opportunity, because my father, who he's alive, don't get me wrong, my father's alive, but he just wasn't in my life for a very large portion of it, from like when I was 6 years old on, but that only made me feel like I wanted to be the absolute best father so that it can be in spite of that, you know what I mean?
And
so kind of like what you're saying, but the exact
cycle.
Opposite. Exactly. So he is, still very, he still communicates with my older sister, and it's not that he's against speaking with me, but the last time that I saw him was when I invited him to our wedding, and I just invited him because I was like, it's my dad, I have to send him an invitation, and he actually showed up.
Conversations.
It did take a few conversations because I didn't feel like I owed it to him, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I said, you know what? He's my dad. So I should at least extend the invitation, whether he takes it or not and shows up. That's on him. And he did. He did come to the wedding. So he made the effort.
The man did show up. He showed up very early. He also was, like 3, maybe 4 hours away, right? And he stayed all the way until after the ceremony and then a little bit after the reception. So like right before the food. No, he stayed for the food. So once the food was done, then he left, which was understandable because he had a 4-hour drive, and he is pretty old.
Yeah, and that's why, like, I don't hold grudges. Like, even with everything that happened with him growing up, I don't hold a grudge against him, but I don't reach out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna extend my hand out and be like, hey, come meet your grandkids. You know what I mean? He should want to come and meet his grandkids on his own. But there's no effort in that. And so I'm not going to be constantly trying to beg him to try and spend time with his family. You know what I mean? But that makes me want to be the absolute best dad that I can possibly be for my kids. So that way, when they look back, they can say, you know, one thing I will say about my dad is that he was always there for me. He was always trying to do everything he could for me, for my brother, and for my mom. Because ultimately that's my goal, right? Is to make sure my family's good, my family's happy, and that I'm always there for whenever they need me. So kudos to you, Reaps, because you raised an absolutely amazing young gentleman.
Isn't he though?
Yeah.
It's a shame that he couldn't join us.
He's not here.
It's a shame he couldn't join us tonight, but he is an absolutely amazing young man. And I will say that I have met, few people in my life that I can say that were raised well, and he was definitely raised well. So kudos to you guys.
Mrs. Reaps,
he was raised out of love, that's for sure.
Right.
Absolutely. Kudos, Miss Reaps, for the amazing job that she did raising that child.
No.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Both of them. Both of them.
We're gonna have to have like a sound effect for it, like just like rain or something.
Anytime you talk about my son, I'm most likely about to cry because I love that young man, and I think he's just a wonderful. I mean, we grew up together, man. We made our fair share of mistakes, and but we did some good too, and he's such a good kid.
Yeah, that's what's crazy about having a kid young is that, like, your kid
could have been worse.
You're growing up together.
Right.
Could have been worse.
Right.
So he had to grow up with us.
Yeah.
Luckily, we were able to kind of me and Mrs. Reaps are very hardworking, hard-nosed individuals, so we were able to get it done, and we had some help from the family, definitely, when we first started out. That's for sure.
Both sides of the family. We were very blessed.
To be able to pull that off and to be where we are today in the situation that we have today and we've built for ourselves is pretty incredible. So I'm pretty proud of that. Pretty proud of that.
Yeah. You should be.
Yeah, it's very, we understand more than anybody.
Yeah.
But on that note, though, guys, before we start making Miss Reaps really cry, we are on to our next segment, which is, of course, Reaper's segment. Story time.
We're gonna switch it up a little bit today.
Oh,
okay. I like switching
It's gonna
up.
be a little unique. So usually, right now, it's usually like an "Am I the asshole?" or "I fucked up today," or shower thoughts. I'm still gonna have a shower thought at the end, but we're gonna do a little shower thought question.
Oh boy!
And I feel like it would spark some interesting conversation. And if you're in the chat, we have a bunch of people in the chat today. Please speak up in the chat because here's the question. Does a straw have one hole or two?
No, you didn't.
Kool-Aid in the chat says two. I feel like you are wrong.
I feel like it's one.
It is a cylinder. A straw.
I'm going to say what?
If you say two
so,
holes, you drink through a straw. You do not drink in and out of a straw.
Okay. So if you block off one end, how many holes are there?
It's still the same hole.
So then if you unblock that end, is that not two holes?
I would say it's just not
get rid of an
in and an out. You have an in to the hole and then an out, but it's still a hole. So it has
two holes?
So is it no longer a hole if you block one off? There's no holes.
Face is killing.
We have no holes now.
No, it's still a hole. It's just a hole that has an end. Like it has a stop.
It's a tunnel.
But it's still a hole.
It's a doorway.
It's a doorway. It's an actual tunnel. It's a very short tunnel.
It's a short tunnel.
And
right,
cue the Avatar music. Secret tunnel. Secret tunnel.
But hey, seriously though, a straw is a tunnel. Let's be honest.
So
a straw is a tunnel.
It's a tunnel for liquid. It is.
So does a tunnel have one entrance or two?
Well, if you can't get out the other end, there's only one entrance.
Well, if you could drive through a mountain, does that tunnel have 1 hole or 2?
2.
It's 1 fucking hole. That mountain has 1 hole in it.
It's 1 hole.
Okay, so I my 2 cents, right? For example, a ring, right? A ring would just be a hole, correct? We would say that this is just a hole.
Well, no, on their thought process, it's 2 holes. Because you can block off one side of the ring. It's a fucking
and then there's no holes.
So this is what I'm trying to get to. So the ring, right? It's just a shorter straw, but it's just 1 hole. So I think a straw is just 1 hole. It's just a very 100%. Long hole.
It's 3 to 2. What are we gonna do?
It's a very perfectly average hole. Okay.
No, I was just playing devil's advocate.
A loop.
A loop. Yeah. So
no, because it's so true when you think about it. You're like, wait, is it 1 or is it 2? But like, you need someone to at least give us both sides so we can talk it out.
Yeah. No, I appreciate being devil's advocate because I like to play devil's advocate all the time too. Like whenever anything, and it's a good way to like mediate too. So if you guys are ever like in the middle of people arguing, play devil's advocate to mediate the argument. So that way both sides can see both sides, and you just stay neutral. You in no way, shape, or form do you take any stance. You just stay neutral. Give them the counter to each of their arguments until they both start to realize, oh wait, hold on. I guess that does make sense. And
I am the king of saying, my question always is like, if I say, hey, we need to do this, we need to pull this off. And they'll be like, oh, we can't, we get this and that and this. And I say, how do we get to yes? That's always the way I approach it, is how do we get to yes? To get them thinking like, how can I pull this off? Instead of all the human nature of having an immediate emotional roadblock reaction to any problem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I listen I listen to what they say, and I say, all right, cool, now how do we get to yes? Mm-hmm. And then they start spouting off ideas. Well, we could do this and that, and that's how you get those wheels turning.
And this is something that I have talked to Mimi about, and people in general, whenever they ask us, like, how do you and Mimi never fight? Because when I tell you that me and Mimi don't fight, we never really have, like, altercations where we're yelling at each other in any way, shape, or form. We're always having conversations. It's always like, let me understand where you're coming from, and let me tell you where I'm coming from. And it never elevates beyond, like, an instance where we maybe say, hold on, wait, you're not listening. But beyond that, there's never anything beyond that. But the reason why is because I have told her time and time again, and I tell people this all the time, whenever you are in the middle of an argument, you have to stop and think, just for a second, think. It's not you versus me right now. It's us versus the problem. So us yelling at each other is not going to help us understand why we have this problem and how to solve this problem. So we need to look at this as a team, not as like us competing. If you live by that way, I promise you it will change your life. If you always take every instance, every conflict and think, okay, what is the problem? Not why are we arguing? What is the problem? The problem that's causing the argument, and work on finding out how to fix that. That's the easiest way to make sure that you guys are always on the same side. Because reality is, when I look at relationships right now, like me and Mimi's relationship is like 1 in a million. Because I'm listening to these stories and I'm just like, that guy really said that? Or wait, she really did that?
Right.
I'm like, holy crap. I'm like, it's unfathomable to me. Like, why would somebody say or do something like that? But then I realize it's because I think completely differently. Like, I don't look at this situation and think, all right, you know what? I'm listening to what you're saying, but you said that one thing in the beginning that hurt my feelings, so now I'm going to try and hurt your feelings even more. That's where that problem lies. Is like, if you are constantly
arguments happen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like when you're not listening. Yes, exactly. As soon as it becomes an attack and defense, that's when you lost. There's no coming back. When somebody is defensive, that should be your trigger. Like for me, whenever I sense Mimi getting defensive, I immediately stop and think to myself, okay, wait, did I do? Like what happened that she's starting to feel this way? And obviously, if I can't understand or if I don't know, I'll just ask her straight up. I'll just be like, what did I say? Like, did I say something that upset you? And then just take it from there, because conflicts are, how do I put it? Conflicts are like an object. You arguing with each other doesn't take care of that object. You need to approach that object together, right? A locked box isn't going to open without you two finding the key. If you two are too busy jumping down each other's throats, you're not looking for the key. You're not going to get that box unlocked.
Or hear me out. The water's not going to come out the other side of the straw if you don't get the block out.
That's right. There'll be no more
Jesus
holes.
Christ.
The cars can't get through the tunnel. The cars can't get through the tunnel if there's a roadblock.
Oh my God. And there we go. We got to bring it back to the straw.
Yep.
But for real, like, for Reaps and I, we were young and we had a kid, and there was times where we would argue. We were very volatile, and I think the thing we have grown up and done really well is learn how to communicate with each other without it turning into attacking each other. You can express how you feel.
It took me a while to be like honest in communication. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To really go, look, here's the actual deal. Because I think as a young man in a relationship with a child, like you have this like protector mentality, this provider mentality. You want to keep everybody happy. So a lot of your own emotions and reactions to things, like you just bottle up until it gets to a point where like something, pops the end of the straw off. You know what I mean? And like, everything goes, So it took me a while to understand that I could just be like, hey, look, like even when it comes to things like stuff that I'm uncomfortable with or whatever, like finally being able to speak up and be like, hey, listen, Miss Reaps, I want nothing to do with what we're about to do. So I need to know, like, if I give you like the panic word, like we need to leave.
Yeah.
Those kind of safe things. Word, we go.
Like, and being honest. And like, and what's really crazy is like the more honest I became, the more like a team it became. To where like she would come up to me seeing signs of like, he's super uncomfortable right now. And she'd be the one that would come up to me and be like, hey, you want to get out of here? And I'd be like, yes.
Yes.
I love that.
That to me, that when I finally was able to be like honest about like,
communicate honest, your feelings.
Yeah. Cause some of the stuff, I'll be honest with you, some of the stuff is like military driven.
It's hard.
Right.
I don't like being in like huge crowds. I don't like being in places where I can't see the exit, or like when we go to a restaurant, Mrs. Reaps like, no, she will sit with her back to the door so I can sit with so I can face the door. She already does that now. But it took me saying to her finally, like, this is the thought process I have in all these crazy scenarios, right? This is what I struggle with basically. And and then when finally she understood, where a lot of like,
it eliminated
like, why will you not come out and do this with me?
A lot of
I'd be trying to make some excuse. Until I finally was like, you know what, this is why. Because it drives me bananas to think about myself in this scenario, without losing my mind all day. And then for her, it was like, oh,
I get it.
Now it's become like a team thing.
Right.
So we're like, hey, we're gonna go do this thing, and we're both like, looking out for each other. Like she's like looking out for me the whole time, like seeing if I'm starting to like sweat and like shake. She'll be like, all right, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, like smack his little butt or,
But that was like, there was a lot of tension that happened with that because I wasn't honest about what was going on. I was like
I thought it was
trying to put on that mask of like, oh, I'm cool. Like everything's okay. But it became like this, it became volatile because it was like, I was making excuses instead of being honest.
And even when he was there, he wasn't present because he had so much going on up in his head.
Right.
Thinking about, but I didn't know. And here I am thinking, it's me, and that's when communication becomes vital in a relationship.
Yeah. Our marriage has gotten drastically better.
Different.
Like drastically better just for communicating honestly.
Right.
And that's what's crazy is that sometimes all it takes is admitting something to yourself and speaking about it. Because if you are in denial of something, that's not going to help you. If you embrace it and then speak about it, then it will help you tenfold. Now, I don't know what
It's
you guys
not
are going
easy
through.
for everybody
right?
to do
I was
that.
gonna
Though.
say,
It's not.
yeah. I don't know what you guys are going through, and this is like a PSA to everybody who's listening in right now. We can't speak for what you're going through. We can't say that we know your situation. But what I can tell you is that the more that you give yourself time to think and talk with people you trust and with
Hmm.
people that are there to help you, the better off you will be.
Yep.
100%. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter if,
It takes
they
the
don't
power
give
away
you
from it.
exactly. It doesn't matter what it is that you might be going through, just give it a chance. Give communication a chance. It can
Hmm.
change your life. It honestly is one of those things that, when people think of like therapy, oh, just talking to somebody is it could really
could.
change your life.
It could.
So if you guys are in a spot where you don't know what or who to talk to or what you're feeling, find somebody that you trust and speak with them. Let them know what you're going through, because they might be able to say something that you just didn't put two and two together, and it might change everything for you.
I'll tell
So
you that it's the biggest hurdle I've ever jumped over, was finally being like throwing it all on the table. Because you like think about that, even in my own marriage, I was just like blockading everything I was going through.
Right.
The minute that I was able to speak about it, and thank God my wife was like super receptive to everything I was saying, like that has changed the game for me. Even my everyday like operations now, like I feel so much better. It's like a huge weight lifted off your back just from being like, it's so nerve wracking, and there's so much anxiety about being like, hey, I have to expose myself basically to this person.
Mm-hmm.
But man, once you do that, it's like a weight off your shoulders. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And if that person is not receptive on the other end, then like maybe you didn't need him in the first place.
That's
right. They're probably
Agreed.
not your
They
person.
do not. That's not the person.
That person does
That's
not
right.
belong on the other side of your straw.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. They are blockaded.
That's gonna become a thing now.
It really is. The straw was gonna be. We're gonna have another shirt.
We need a straw sponsor.
We need a sponsor.
We do. We need a straw sponsor.
All right, we'll make sure that we tell Sea Dog, Ethan, and Vision about that. I'm sure they'll get that going.
Yeah.
I'm sure we've gotten a sponsor or two straw reach out to us already somewhere. All right, but,
hey, Sito, I have the actual shower thought.
Oh, here we go.
Shout
hold
out
on. Before we get to the shower thought, let's make sure we cap everything off, so that way we end this off
like
right.
One side or both sides.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh God.
We're gonna cap both sides of the straw, because the entrance of the straw was the beginning of the episode. This is the back of the straw now. So before we wrap up with the shower thought, I just want to give everybody a big thank you so much again for tuning in. I know today's podcast wasn't as lively and as upbeat as usual, but these are the kind of things that we want to talk about as well, because we don't know what you guys might be expecting out there, but we're here to speak to you about anything and everything. And deep thoughts like this, it's something that you may not have considered, and now you can think about it. You can talk about it. Throw it in the comments. If you guys have anything that you may have heard about in the podcast that you might be curious about, or have your own thoughts, just throw it in the comments. Let us know what you guys think. We appreciate everybody who's tuning in, the people who jumped into the chat, Kool-Aid, Julie, everybody else who's out there. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really do appreciate you guys. And we can't wait to have more and more episodes recorded, and more guests join in, and more people in the live chat. But on that note, now, Reaps.
Shower time.
Yeah. What is it?
Hold on, wait. Whoa.
I mean, hold on. It's shower thought.
Shower thought time.
Are we talking one hole or two? Hey,
Three.
Hey, yo. What? Yeah. Big W for Reaps.
Nailed it. Hey, I'm gonna miss next week. Sorry. My back's gonna be broke. All right. Hey, so after a lot of consideration, this week's shower thought is, you know what? Cars should have two horns, a nice one and a mean one.
Yay, you did it.
With that being said, thank you all so much again. Hey, from my heart to yours, thank you so much for the support. If you're checking us out on YouTube or Spotify, please hit the subscribe button because it helps us out. Also, Every Sunday morning is when our new episodes get released. So check us out. Hit the little bell on YouTube so you guys can check us out. If you want to hang out with us ever, we're setting up our Discord, and we'll put the audience link in the Discord so you can hang out with us and chat live and see everybody's camera angles all at the same time. So thank you for your continued support. And until next week.
Until next week, everybody.
Bye,
Have
everybody.
a great night.
Let's go.